na digital blessing. High tech, they rise, no stress. Money boy on the beat. I see numbers on my screen. Green candles make me lean. My people, them, they win. High tech, they flow like stream. Enough we go down. Now only we know. All my people gather round. Make we show them how we grow. High tech, na juju money. Juju money. Price, they rise infinitely. My God, that's just this blessing. This blessing. Digital money, no go rest, oh. No rest. Sharp pattern, they confirm. Every trader, they affirm. All time high, no be ceiling. Market makers, them, they feeling. My brother, check the stats. Numbers climbing like that. New record every day. High tech, show them the way. Enough we go down. Now only up we know. All my people gather around. Make we show them how we grow. High tech, na juju money.
Okay. Alright, I think we can start. Everything should be working fine. Allow me to quickly check if I'm correct on this one. I should have set it up before I started live streaming, but sometimes that's the way it is. I forget about stuff. Well, yeah, probably it's going to be fine. If I'm correct. Yeah, it is. Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Definitely everything is fine. So, yeah, my name is Hightech. I am the creator of Hightech Meme Coin on Solana. This is Solana Meme Coin. This is the mint address of this coin. Why am I so dark? So on these live streams, I talk about what just happened today in the cryptocurrency market, what I think about it, and of course how well my coin is doing. Okay, so let's start. Here I hit recording. Let's go to the main screen and let's discuss what we are dealing with today. So as you see, the daily candle is red so far, but this is not a disastrous red. Far from that, definitely. Three-legged BTC, that's the title of today's live stream, not without the reason. Why? Because I think it's holding on pretty well. I don't really think you can throw at it much that would stick. I think, overall global situation and how we are holding on when it comes to price levels, I think this is a sign of strength, not of weakness. We are literally, theoretically speaking, standing in front of World War III. Meanwhile, we are still holding very, very decent prices. We are very close to all-time highs. So yeah, I think if you read it any other than that, highly likely you are very, very wrong about what is going to happen with this market sometime soon. I think if it holds this high with this situation, current situation, when things calm down, we're going to go much higher. And I think the others chart is confirming it, because here, on the more risky side of our sector, so altcoins, here we are talking about probably altcoins that are listed on Binance, since as you see in the URL there is a symbol equals Binance something. So probably this chart counts only coins listed on Binance, biggest exchange, cryptocurrency exchange so far. So definitely a lot of meme coins are excluded here, which in theory should give us quite clean look on the industry, how really the capitalization looks here. And again, given that we are holding way above $200 billion level, way above 195, which is As you see here, I marked it as the bottom of this wide range. I also read it of this range. I also read it as a sign of strength, right? So and given that we've been for months, long months, we've been in a very aggressive sell-off, right? And here we started to settle. So when we picture it like this, it definitely gives us a little bit more clear look on what potentially we could expect. Of course, a little bit of volatility to the downside is always possible, but I don't think it's going to. Even if we get it, and we might get it because probably with the things in the Middle East, everything that is going on there, there is, in my opinion, high probability. I'm sorry. Cheers. High probability that they will pop up with something a little bit more spectacular, you know, sometime soon. That could cause slightly more negative volatility here on Bitcoin too, but I don't think it's going to be anything that fear mongers expect, right? Those guys that think the cycle is over, I think is far from over. I think the way market is behaving right now is confirming that it is far from over. Together with liquidation levels, those are very, very low, still very low, comparatively speaking, of course. Because when we look at, for example, CoinGlass, Bitcoin, $25 million for last 24 hours. That's absolutely nothing. For a market this big, $25 million of liquidations, 16 in long, 8.5, almost 17 millions in longs, 8.5 in shorts. This is literally nothing. Even Ethereum has larger, greater number of liquidations than Bitcoin right now. That's laughable. That's literally laughable. So I repeated almost every single live stream. Nobody's here. Literally everyone's home. Nobody's trading those things. Meaning that those that are loaded up, are the strong hands. Those that are out are the weak hands, meaning that there is literally nobody to occupy order book on the sell side, meaning that the price will have it very, very easy to climb up once it gets public interest. So now because so probably those big players, they are waiting for things to calm a little bit down. They will let a few days pass, maybe a couple of weeks, and then I think everything is ready, right? Everything is ready. All the weak hands are completely shaken out. If there is any, trying to mount the bull here, they get quickly shaken off the back. And if it were not for the geopolitical situation, I think we would already have been railing very, very, very aggressively towards the upside. And only because of that, we are still consolidating here. Sometimes that's the way it is. Same with Bitcoin. And every single day we are getting closer to a very spectacular rally. That probably is going to be called an altcoin season. So I know altcoin season becomes a meme of this cycle. It doesn't want to come, right? So far it has been meme coin season, maybe AI season a little bit, mostly meme coin season, and that's it. Altcoin season not so much. 70% of altcoins have suffered more sell-offs, and just within last 6 months, majority of them experienced all-time lows. So that is why people believe less and less in altcoin season happening, but the less they believe, the closer we are. That's literally the way it works. That's the market mechanics. So I think it will definitely reward those that understand, the and can see the entire picture instead of a small part of it. And judging by the market structure, we must be very, very close to it. I don't really think we will have to wait until the end of the summer because, of course, there is some voices rising that we will have altcoin season, but in October, November, I don't really think so. I think October, November will be already the time to get out of this market. Maybe even September. I think until the end of summer we are going to see aggressive rallies. We'll see how this one is going to age. Sometimes, sometimes I get things very, very right. Sometimes I get things very, very wrong. My hit rate here is more or less is very split 50-50. But this time around, I think, like I said, judging by the market structure, I think the odds that I'm going to be right again, very right, very correct, are sky high. I haven't looked at S&P today, so let me throw an eye here. Okay, so today has been red, but again, when we go to smaller time frame, it looks like we are just moving sideways. Not much else. The daily maybe looks a little bit unsettling. When we look at normal candles, when we look at Heikenhashi, it will be probably looking fairly okay. Yeah, much better like this. Although we are curling down now slightly, but all of those red candles they are standing on a tall leg as I call it. So that's a good sign because especially when overall trend is an uptrend, and that's the case here. On the weekly, we are probably remaining green. Yes, that's indeed the case. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the weekly Heikenhashi is still red, but as you see, it's very close to flip green. I think it will manage to do that. Today is Friday, right? No, Thursday. Okay, so that's even better. So we have still the whole day of tomorrow for S&P to look even better. That probably will happen. Probably tomorrow is going to be a little bit better, unless some huge bombs are going to be dropped somewhere. And here I'm thinking about literally and metaphorically. Both of those options are available now. And yeah, if nothing drastic is going to come up tomorrow, I think it's going to be bullish. The entire Friday should be bullish. From what I have seen on X, Donald Trump keeps pressuring Jerome Powell to lower rates the day before. It was yesterday, I think. I think it was yesterday. Rates were not lowered; they were sustained at the same level. And but Jerome Powell said that probably two interest rate cuts are going to happen sometime this year. So even though he was sounding at the end of the meeting, from what I have heard at the end of the meeting, a little bit hawkish, he said that we are going to have two interest rate cuts still this year. So overall, every single FOMC meeting, can bring us interest rate cuts. That's the mindset right now. So that's why I think market is going to be leaning towards the bullish side more than towards the bearish side. So yeah, I'm highly convinced that it is going to happen within the summertime, summer months, right? So So either no, this month is out of the window already, and so either July or August, I think we are going to get the first interest rate cuts, and and shortly after we are going to follow higher. We are going to follow higher. Okay, let me take a look at Bitcoin dominance. How that one is looking. There we have this Adam and Eve formation on smaller time frames. It is much better visible on normal candle here. Like here, as you see. Now, in my opinion, this is going to be Adam and Eve formation. So here is Adam, and this one is going to be Eve. It's going to be something like this. Probably is going to take much less time to draw it, so to print it. Yeah, even though right now Bitcoin dominance looks like it's still doing well, I think this ceiling here of this structure is showing us that it's curving, meaning that it is increasingly more difficult to actually sustain the growth here, and at the end of the day, we have to give up to the gravity. That's what I think. Of course, I could be wrong on that, but definitely the higher we go here, the more difficult it is for Bitcoin to maintain. So that's why betting on this thing, I don't know, going to 80% like some of the people claim is going to get there. 75, 80, I don't know, 90, that's very foolish. That's very infant, I would say. So yeah, I think it's much safer to start slowly betting on your favorite altcoins, allocate slowly into them. Do not go all in because we still can see a little bit of negative volatility. That potential is right now available in every single minute, hour because of situation in the Middle East. So it is always much smarter to remember to have a little bit of dry powder at hand because it could be useful to have it. And of course, I encourage you to get yourself a chunk of high tech. This is the meme coin I promote on all of my social media. This is still a very, very small market. You should, this one, you should not look at capitalization because most of the coins that, let's say, compose capitalization are going to be burned. You should look at the liquidity, so treat liquidity as capitalization of this coin. So it's very, very tiny. It's like, I think, $18,000 or something. There's like 50 holders of this coin so far, so literally nothing. And it went from $1 to $121 so far. With those 50 holders, there's going to be thousands of them at some point, dozens of thousands. So imagine where price is going to be by then, right? So that's why I think this is the easiest trade on the whole internet right now. Just get yourself a little bit of it. Nothing, don't overinvest. Don't put in any money that you could be worried about. Put, like, I don't know, literally a couple of bucks. It will still do the job, as I tend to say. So yeah, the link to it you will find it in the description section of this live stream if you watch it on YouTube or on Rumble. If you watch it no, on X, actually, I'm not live streaming. I'm live streaming. I actually put only, I forgot, because I used to live stream on X. Now I don't. I just put the link to my YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's it. That's it. In the description of this live stream, you'll find the link to its trading pool or actual liquidity pool, and then you can exchange it for USDC, USDT, or whatever that you have on Solana that has liquidity. It can be used because this is a Solana meme coin. So yeah, we are getting closer and closer to this thing giving up, and that will mark, of course, the beginning of the altcoin season. We will not have to, of course, wait until it goes. I don't know why it makes these jumps always when I mark it. Yeah, like now. We will not have to wait for this thing to, I don't know, take out, for example, this low, and then, the meme coin, yeah, not meme coin, altcoin season will start. No, 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 absolutely not. The moment we reach here the highest point of this of drawing Eve here is going is going to be the start of the altcoin season, meme coin season, you name it. All of the coins aside from Bitcoin. So we are very, very close to it. Very, very close to the very, very beginning of it happening. A very exciting time. Nobody expects it right now, and that is the way it's supposed to be. Why? Because otherwise people will be overloading this market. So they will have full bags, fully loaded, all of the bags fully loaded, and then who's supposed to push up the price in those conditions if everyone is loaded, right? So that's literally what we need. Nobody's interested in those markets now. On the other charts, we are definitely consolidating. We are after a huge sell of consolidating. People have no faith in altcoins anymore. This combination could not be. This setup could not be any better. So, um, and a funny thing that with this type of formation, because for example, if we were railing, like we were railing here, right? Here we would not be able to tell at all at what point we are going to break down. But since this is Adam and Eve formation, inverse Adam and Eve, I sometimes I forget to mention it. Then we know the Eve is a curving move like this, right? Is a round move like this. So all we have to do is just to check the highest point of this round move here, rounding move, and that highest point is when we start, right? So the reality is making the matrix is making it so easy for us right now. That is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So it's probably I think even this is going to be the the top of this move, of this rounding move here, and we will be turning around from here. So that would mean right now, these days, literally, I don't know, this window of, I don't know, 5-7 days is the bottom on everything aside from Bitcoin or anything measured against Bitcoin. I think the odds for it are very, very high right now. At Bitcoin dominance sitting close to 65%. This setup has immense chances of turning out to be real, not to be a fake out. Let's take a look at USDT dominance. USDT dominance is having quite a good day. Is approaching 488 level again, 4.88 level. Yeah, I was commenting on it on my last live stream here, that it looked a little bit like it wants to get up. It wants to have a little bit of a rally here. I'm sorry, but this 4.88% level here was working quite well as a resistance or support. Right now we are approaching it from below, so it should work as a resistance. So I think it's going to get the job done, to be honest. So yeah, given the other charts that we can support our thesis with, that we are just about to see the altcoin market rise here, it must mean a very violent reduction. I think we gathered enough of evidence that this one here is not going to make make much difference. But it's just not the time for it. It's just not the time for it to be making any significant differences here. So yeah, that's how I see it. And let's take a look at gold as well. Gold measured against Bitcoin. Is this one showing us something a little bit more interesting? Hey, this one has come down slightly, very slightly, but it's holding on quite well. Still holding on quite well when we look at it under the daily. I mean, on the daily. On the weekly, this weekly candle is also looking somewhat good. So who knows? Maybe gold is going to have a little bit of a continuation here, and Bitcoin will stay where it is. I don't think Bitcoin is going to see reductions from here. Any further corrections from here. And gold, as you see on gold, this weekly candle as well is not looking that bad. The worst situation we can spot on the daily. This one could suggest us that maybe we're about to roll over here, but on other hand, take a look how many times you had the opportunity to do so. Here, here. So far we are marking higher highs and higher lows. You know, significant higher lows. So just maybe, you know, this is a repetition of that pattern, behavioral pattern. We can see that it's very regular here. That's just if small tiny correction in overall uptrend, and that's it. That could be the case. That very well could be the case. You know, if Bitcoin is not moving up against gold, that does not mean if Bitcoin does not move against gold, that does not mean altcoins will not move up against gold. I think recent times have people accustomed to altcoins moving with Bitcoin, and I think a huge off guard is going to be if now Bitcoin will stay where it is and altcoins will move on their own. They will completely, at least temporarily, detach from what Bitcoin is doing, and yeah, that could be a huge trick, you know, this year that a market has up its sleeve to, you know, trick the majority of market participants and potential market participants, people that are circulating around this market and, you know, watch it from time to time. They are to some extent interested in joining, but only when it's safe in their opinion. And, you know, that time whenever they think it's safe is actually the time when they should be already cashing out after you know, long participation in those uptrends. But yeah, that's why there is so much money to make here, because there is so many people willing to give away their money to you if you instead know what you are doing, right? So I mean, judging by how gold looks measured against USD, measured against Bitcoin, that seems like a likely scenario that Bitcoin could stay where it is, could stay where it is, and, you know, the rest of the season could belong to finally to altcoins, because altcoins, you know, have been suffering for a very long time. They're definitely very oversold across the board, and I think they deserve they deserve the pump, objectively speaking. Let me take a look at the live chat here. Okay, and the connection is doing fairly well. All right. Crypto fear and greed index is yesterday was at 48, as you see, the same as the day before. So definitely quite cool, quite cold. That's good. and I like it in conjunction with how others chart looks, because others chart is definitely oversold. The sentiment here is cold. With Bitcoin, that's a little bit different setup, but with altcoins, I think it has a great potential to give us a lot of joy, sometime soon. Meme coin and meme coins terms, they are showing us that at least we are not lowering with interest against last last week, as you see. Right now, 14 against 14 last week. That's for meme coin search term on YouTube search, because I think YouTube search right now is the most reliable. Meme coins slightly lower, just 1 point lower this week against the last week. So a very, very tiny difference. It can actually, until 21st, it can come up. It can come up to 16 as well, and give us literally the same picture as meme coin search term. So so it's, something is slowly changing. Something is slowly changing. Me on my social media groups, I also noticed that reach is increasing a little bit, slightly. So somehow people start to get a little bit more interested uh, in in uh, in the crypto market. That's good. I mean, we don't want them to get on board just yet, but we definitely want them to keep looking, and cultivate that decision to join the market. But after we already have enough of growth, just so they can deliver the exit liquidity. Right now, it would be definitely prematurely, and they would completely spoil the rallies. But yeah, slowly something is going on there under the hood. Somebody liked one of my posts here on X. Okay, that's probably bots. If not, then if those are not the bots. All right, so let's take a look what we have on my X here. What are the talks about? This is of course my live stream. Share, like, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Of course, since I'm a very small influencer on English social media, yet I seek reach, and that one you can give me if you share my content. If you like my content, if you share my content, that is going to be greatly appreciated, of course. One of the best tips that you right now is sharing my content. Other than that is, of course, getting yourself a little bit of high tech. Again, link to it in the description. Live stream. Here, let's switch back to Bitcoin, just so we can see what is going on there. This daily still can close green, of course. It's just 5 p.m., 5:13 p.m. UTC time, so it still has plenty of time to get back to where it was at open time, and even render some green here too. But even in its current shape, to be honest, it does not look that bad at all. Because recent days are those here, so we're consolidating here, and this could be some solid ground, some platform to make a solid jump up. All right, let's take a look at my X. My X profile. Mariano for breaking $16 billion. No, sorry, 16 billion passwords leaked. Apple, Google, Facebook users exposed. What's being called the largest password leak in history has just been confirmed. 16 billion login credentials, many from major platforms like Apple, Google, Facebook, GitHub, and more. So, do they store passwords? They really store passwords? That would be weird if they do. To be honest, in my case, my passwords are super long. Are like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 signs long. So they're not supposed to store those passwords, to be honest. They can have hashes of those passwords, but they're not supposed to store. That's not a good practice of dealing with working with someone's passwords. I'm going to bookmark it, and I will look into it a little bit more later. POV: after your death, your wife, this friend who spent his entire time insulting you. this, this is Vladimir Putin, right? Okay, that's funny. Lark Davis, I bet he's thinking about other guys, Crypto Bro. Exactly. New. Pavel Durov revealed his brother Nikolai is developing a new AI that can think logically and understand the world. Okay. Yeah, what a difference in between them, eh? They don't really look like brothers. This one is a funny one. Israel's stock market is up 14% since the recent attacks. They are outperforming the S&P 500. How? Their stock exchange just got literally bombed with physical bombs. So how is that possible? That's and here there is no way, right? Rex, Solana. Yeah, probably there is no way. Probably there is no way. You know what? You know why? Because you know, let's say well based, but of a lot of their problems from before. It has much more adoption. It's fast. It's literally the fastest network on the planet. I think the fastest blockchain on the planet. Right. I'm talking about layer one, of course, because only those make most sense. And yeah, the adoption, applications around it, the whole ecosystem has grown so much. It has multiple stable coins on their chain, including even Swiss franc. I don't know if you know, but you can have Swiss franc on Solana network. So which is called VCHF. VCHF. You can literally on Radium. You can get it on Radium swap your whatever for VCHF or your USDT or USDC. So Solana from here is not the Solana from right now. There's a huge difference in between those two times. The odds of Jesus returning before GTA 6 is released have increased yet again, 16% chance. Yeah, think I think the most intelligent man in the world. I mean, a man with the highest IQ score ever recorded in history. I think he's Asian. I don't remember his exact name. I think he said that Jesus is king, and sorry, Jesus is God. He said that definitely Jesus is God. It was said by literally the most intelligent man ever recorded in history. I think 266 IQ points. So in that context, this is quite funny. This, if you want to know if I'm a believer, I'm definitely a believer. I'm definitely a Christian, but any church. I don't really have a need of attending any church, and I'm not Catholic or Protestant or whatever. I consider myself Christian, but I do not attend any church. So That's why it makes me laugh even. As simple as that. Bitcoin. Okay, so Immortal says that we're going to consolidate here for a little bit more and to take off. And yet again, in context, what the hell am I even talking about? In context of what the gold is doing, that actually could be a valid scenario that we are going to see this. In the meantime, altcoins should rise by a lot. Bitcoin could go sideways. Gold could be rising even more. It makes sense. Lord Peacemaker Trump calls warmonger Trump. Okay, so it's Trump talking to himself. That's funny. Is this a tent? Serious camping. Looks good, eh? It's like an entire house actually. Looks cool. I like it. Yeah, but if there is a lot of wind, it's going to probably like it. Yeah, but if there is a lot of wind, it's going to probably blow this tent away. But yeah, that's an interesting setup. Very interesting setup. If you're like on the road, if for whatever reason you are forced to this type of lifestyle, yeah, it's as comfy as it can get this way. Never KYC. Catching criminals is about expanding government surveillance. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely about catching criminals. That's why privacy is wow, wow. This one looks amazing. Is this is this actually real? Is this a real aquarium? Or are those screens? If I get rich in crypto, I'm not telling anyone, but there will be signs. Yeah, sure. This looks like it's real, especially this one. The other one is probably screens. This one is probably screens, but this one here it looks like it's a real aquarium. That's amazing. Does anyone know the name of this movie? They have no idea, but this actor here, I don't remember his name. The cowboy guy, more cowboy guy. He's quite young here, so this movie must not be that new. Okay, all right, guys. Allow me to wrap it up here. And not much We are going to win, says Quinton. The Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. Digital assets are the future, and our nation is going to own it. We are talking about massive investment and big innovation. The House will hopefully move lightning fast and pass a clean Genius Act. Ah, okay, so it's about Genius Act. Genius Act is about stablecoins, to my knowledge, I think. Yeah, is it? Let's take a look. No, no, which aims to position the US as a leader in digital assets, supported by an executive order signed on January 23rd that promotes blockchain innovation as detailed in Pillsbury Law Analysis. Hinting at potential market manipulation risk noted in a sex study on pump and dump schemes. Okay, the enthusiastic tone aligns with a shift in U.S. policy under Trump's administration, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's pro-crypto stance since January 27th, contrasting with prior skepticism per congressional records, potentially driving global adoption trends. Not much of details here about the bill itself. I think it's mainly related to stablecoins. But this one since yesterday. It has passed, but it still has to be signed, I think, or something like that. Uh, yeah, the House. the house has to pass it to. That will be it for today, guys. And share, like, and subscribe. Thank you for your time. Get yourself a little bit of high tech. I think one of the best, if not the best trade on the internet right now is a total no-brainer, given how small this market still is, given how stubborn I am when it comes to promoting, my things, and my media. The, all of it is going to grow immensely at first occasion when interest around cryptocurrencies is going to kick in. So be first, right? Don't wait for the rest, for others to allocate into this market. Now is your opportunity. Get yourself something small here. Have a little bit, at least a little bit of skin in the game, so later you can benefit from those absolutely epic moves, because this market is going to grow huge, absolutely huge. Right now is literally nothing. So yeah, that's the best advice I can literally give you right now. So yeah, thank you guys for your time. I see you sometime soon. Cheers.